Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're gonna configure the flight plan in a Cessna Citation Longitude airplane. We did it previously in the Citation CG4, so probably you will see some commonalities between those airplanes. But let's go ahead and let's start doing it. The airplane is currently located at Heathrow at one of the small gates, as you can see, and it's ready to, I would say, start off. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is we need to start the airplane. So let's do that. It's always searching a bit in some cases. So we need to check if the APU is on. We need to check if the battery is on. So let me see where the battery is. It's not here. So we're gonna switch the batteries on.
Okay.
So that's all fine. Gonna set the AP generator on. Gonna switch the engines on. And you don't have to really start the engines if you don't want to. But in most cases it's recommended to do it if you don't have the external power. Reason is, if you don't do it, it will prevent you from, I would say, leaving the airplane on for a longer time, because then the battery will drain. So we can open the card, we can start running the engines. Let's see if it already does something. I don't think so. No. So in that case, if you forgot to do what you need to do, there's always the handy checklist, right? So let's go to the checklist and let's make sure that we are that we've done everything. APR, it's still building, as you can see. So probably we were a little bit too fast. Normal is fine. External power, we can set it to off in this case. So that's this list. So then let's start the engine. So make sure the throttling is set to 0. We set it to run. Then we need to push another button. So we do them twice, right? We can wait, but we don't have to do it. At least not for now. So you can see the engine is starting as we speak. So now we're there, now we have, or sure that the power is there, we can continue with setting the flight plan. So let me zoom out a bit. As you can see, the airplane has a few displays, right? 3 displays. One is the shows the horizon and the altitude and the speed. The other one contains a map and also contains the engine information. So you can see that both engines are starting. You can see the fuel which is available, and you can see the flaps. And if you look here, you can see what's the position of the gear. Of course, the gear is down now, so nothing to worry about. On the right side, on the right side here, you can see the same. So this is I would say, duplicate of this view for the co-pilot. And then for the view where we need to go to, and that is here. It are the 2 Garmin machines, or Garmin built-in systems. And here's where you also see the flight plan option, right? So let's hit it. And this is where you can add the origin, the destination, and the several waypoints. So let's first add the origin. And to help us a bit, we're gonna open the VFR map by pressing the letter V and then typing in the letters. So EGLL, you can see it recognized here. So we're gonna go from Heathrow, and then we're gonna zoom out a bit. And our flight today will go to, well, let's go to Dublin in this case. Sometimes it takes a while before the VFR map loads. Let me see if we can find it. Dublin is more in the top this here is Dub, as you can see here. So here is Echo India Delta Whiskey, which is Dublin International Airport, which is fine. So then we hit enter. So what it will do by default, it will set a straight line on both the VFR map, but also if we would zoom out, you will see it in the map being updated here. You can see the distance from or I would say departure to the destination. But yeah, of course this is not what we want to do, because we want to add some more waypoints, and that can be done using the add en route waypoint. To do that, we need to zoom in a bit, because we need to know, okay, which waypoints are on our location or on our route. So let's say that we are using BUR, Bravo Uniform Romeo, and then you can see it already says, hey, I found duplicates, which means that it found the same beacon in different countries. So then you need to scroll down and look at the distance. Well, in this case, the one from the 8 mile looks pretty good. As you can see, it's already there, so that's good. So the next one will be EGRZ. So we hit add en route point again, EGRZ. And as you can see, this is another another airport, right? So you can add both the NDB beacons, but you can also add the airports. And one of the things you need to understand is that you sometimes, when using the VFR map, you need to zoom in a bit more to see the VORs and the star points. Alright, so for terminal approach, so we've added BUR now, as you can see. So let's add Bensu. So we can go here and then punch in the letters and then hit enter again, and you will see it has changed. It's good. So we'll zoom out a bit, and one of the things which you would see if you're using the built-in flight planner from Flight Simulator is that you don't need to actually, I would say, put waypoints which are close to each other. Sometimes they can be a little bit further from each other, so it's not necessary to say put or select a waypoint from every, I would say, view in the VFR map. So since we just have added Bensu, so let's go a little bit further. Let's follow the line. That's one thing you can do, right? So as you can see, here's also a large part where it doesn't have anything. So what we can do is we can zoom out a bit, and we can make a detour, and then go to first to, what was it? I think it was that I saw GST here somewhere. Yeah, GST. So scroll down the list, hit add en route point, GST, then hit enter again. It will show you multiple ones. In this case, the .eg is the correct one. So it will update the chart. And then let's zoom out a bit. So we can do two things, right? You can take the direct approach from GST to this waypoint, or we can first go to Victor Yankee Lima. So let's do that. Victor Yankee Lima, hit enter again, because in that case we can make the, I would say, almost straight approach to Dublin Airport. So we zoom in a bit here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the star points, because that makes sure that we can do a direct, or I would say better aligned to the airport. So we're gonna add an en route waypoint, DUB. I'll zoom in a bit for you. DUB X1. Let's see if it finds it. No. And that's the thing which I'm still trying to understand. So why do we find some of the waypoints and some of them we can't find them? So in that case we add Loco. because the funny thing is that if you use the procedures button, which I will show to you in a few minutes, you're able to add those star points. So let's add another waypoint, lot more, PMO, the max F, hit enter again. Then we're gonna go to, see where we are, OP, we can add it, well, we can leave it as is, it's not strictly necessary to add an additional one. So if we would put a GPS tracking on, you can see that it directs us back to the flight or the location where we currently are. Since we now configured all the let's say waypoints, we're gonna press done, and if we go back to home and go to the flight plan again, you will see that it remains here. So we can close the VFR map. If you would go into the center display, you can see that the route has been configured in the display, so that's easy. So that makes it useful. So what are the other options? Well, so let's press home. You can see that both are synced together, right? So that's easy. Map settings doesn't do anything currently. Weather also doesn't allows us to say, okay, hey, what's the radar which we want to use, but those buttons, you can only select 3 of them, right? So there's not much you can do about this. So I would assume that you can leave them as default. Then the procedures button, which we just discussed. Procedures button are the procedures which you can use to approach an airport. So if we would press departure, we would see the departure airport, in this case London Heathrow, and then we can select, okay, what's the runway we're using, what's the departure we're using, and based on that, let's select one and see what happens. It will define a route which is called a star route. So let's hit load, and then we need to hit this again. And you can see several things have changed, right? So the first thing which has changed is that we're instead of, I would say, making the direct approach to Dublin, let me also open the VFR map. Instead of making the direct approach to Dublin, it will send us first via the star route, and then it will send us back. The other thing you can see is that due to the change we made in a radar, it now shows the weather, right? So if it's raining, yes or not, or yes or no, I should say. So that's one of the things you can do with the departure button. The same thing you can do for the approach. So if you would approach, we can see Dublin International is already selected. You can select the approach which you want to do. So for example, if you want to use ILS, we can select it. You see the sequence, and the sequence are simply the waypoints which we're going to visit prior to, I would say, landing. So again, we're going to press load, we're going to press home, then we're going to go back to our VFR map. That's probably easier because then we can, whoa. And this is where things sometimes get weird like this. So because what it now has done is that it has completely changed the route, and I think, to be honest, this is really I think this is a bug in the system, because I can't imagine that we need to first fly to the other end of the world. It puts us here, and then it lets us fly back. So maybe I made the error. So let's double check that, because keep in mind that we also added Victor Yankee Lima, which was here. So maybe we selected the incorrect one. So how to correct that? Well, in that case, we need to go to the flight map again. And here you can see, okay, hey, This is VIL. So what we're gonna do is this. We're first gonna insert the correct one. So we're pressing VIL. It says it doesn't recognize it. Why not? That's kind of weird. Right here you can see it. Here you can't see it. So what we're gonna do in that case, since it's unknown, it doesn't recognize it, we're gonna use EGOV. So we're gonna do backspace, EGOV, hit enter, then it will add it to the waypoint list, as you can see. And then we're gonna select the VIL and select remove waypoint. And so this is much better. So you can see that it's really easy to add waypoints, but also to remove them. Handy options are the option to say, okay, hey, I want to insert it, or I want to before this waypoint or after. And the other thing, which in some cases useful, is the direct to. If you don't want to visit all the other waypoints, you can simply press the direct to button, and it will set up a flight directly to that waypoint or to that airport. The other thing, which is handy, is the active lag to waypoint, which means that we're gonna set this lag, do that, as the active lag, and you can see that the pink icon appears here, and it will now activate the lag between the previous waypoint and the waypoint which we selected. And this makes it easy because if you did some detours and you want to skip some waypoints, you can do that, and you can simply select the correct waypoint in the list and select the activate lag to waypoint. And the reason why you might want to do that is because you're using the autopilot. And let me detour a bit to that, because that's an option I was searching for a while. Is by default, if you let me show it on the screen, by default this is set to VOR1, but if you want to use, I would say, a GPS flight, so not an official VOR flight, but simply want to use the waypoints configured and using GPS, then you need to change this setting. So let me go again to the system. So what you then need to do is in the PFD home option on the left side of the pilot, you need to press it twice and set it to FMS. In that case it will change here, so you can see it changes here to pink, and now we're using GPS, so that's good. So going back to the other screens, what can we do? What are the other things we can do from here? Well, the waypoint info. For example, we want to know more about a specific airport, then we can do it here. So we can say select airport, punch in the numbers. So let's say we want to know more about Dublin. Delta Whiskey, hit enter, and this is where you get the info, right? So you've got the information about what's the location, what's the distance from our current location, what are the options, so can you refuel, for example, is the public airport, yes or no, what are the frequencies which you can use. Frequencies are for contacting, for example, the tower, or contacting the ATIS for the information. And you can press the runways, right? So you can see, okay, what's the runway numbers, what is the length of those runway numbers. You can see some unknown information. I expect it to be fixed in a future update, because there are a lot of these things, but maybe it's normal, I don't know. The other option you can use is the nearest, and using the nearest you can find either the nearest airport, intersection, NDB, or VOR. So if you press nearest airport, we will see the airports which are, I would say, close around us, with the distance, what type of approach they have, how long the runways are. And then the last one, speed box. I think, but I'm not 100% sure because I'm still investigating this piece, is that it allows you to set certain, I would say, speed maximums in the airplane. So currently they're all not sure, they're all off, as you can see by default, but you can also switch them on. I will find out where they are used for, and I will probably create a new how-to what you can do with that. Thinking about everything, did we miss anything? Yes, we did miss one thing, and that's this button. And this button allows you to zoom in or out on the map, right? So if you would show the map, where is it? You can either zoom out or zoom in. It's hard to see because the map is here, right? So let me show it another way. So if we would change the buttons here, you can see that we're zooming in or out. So this is where the how-to ends. Hope you liked it. You saw that we hit some challenges in the how-to, but we also fixed them, which also shows them how easy it is to fix a mistake if you made one. If you like this video, then consider to press the like button. If you've got questions or answers, then use the options below the video. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, then consider to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.